We are live, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We are here. This is Brian S. Arnold, and we are here with another episode of the Authority Project. And I have my new good friend here, Steve Brown. He says he's going to show you, or you're going to discover what a golden toilet website is and, how you could possibly have one. Isn't that right, Steve?
That's right. I wonder, have you ever wondered if you wasted a lot of money and it still didn't flush any better? It still didn't improve the user experience?
Yeah. Well, we shall find all about that now in this next episode, or this current episode, should I say, of the Authority Project.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, feast your eyes and tune your ears. It's that time again. We are live with another episode of the Authority Project. It's the video podcast streamed on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Periscope, where we talk to digital marketers, business coaches, and creators of all kinds on how they've built authority in their field and how you can mimic their success. Developing authority, building your audience, and attracting better clients to your own business. Now, without further ado, let's bring to the virtual stage your host, Brian S. Arnold.
Yes, we are back on the virtual stage once again with less than a week in 2020 as of this podcast. And we're excited to have Steve Brown here with a very intriguing topic. I'm excited. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm doing great, Brian. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
This is great. So before we dive in, let's tell the people who you are personally and then professionally.
Personally, I'm a Texas boy. I grew up in Texas. I love helping folks grow their business. I'm involved in nonprofit things, but I have this agency that's called ROI Online, and had it for this is our 9th year.
Wow!
And so now I've got a podcast, got a book, just doing the things.
I love it. So are you a Texans fan or a Cowboy fan there?
It doesn't matter to me really. I broke up with the NFL, I don't know, maybe about 8 years ago.
Okay.
Or it's whenever they started having the free agency. It's like I would show up every Sunday, every Thursday night, whenever. And I knew their names, I knew their numbers, I knew their histories. And then I'd wake up the next day and it's like, what? Deion Sanders is on our team? We hate Deion Sanders, right? And I realized I was putting in all this effort for this relationship, and they didn't care about it. They would just break up with me and go somewhere else.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. I love it. You can see the passion already from his breakup from 11 years ago. Still strong.
Yeah, I'm still not over it. Yeah.
You remind me of when I stopped doing fantasy football, when I had I put all my faith and trust in these people that you could deliver. I was in the Super Bowl. I was like, I had the best team I've ever drafted. And then I decided not to put this one guy in it who was he just sucked the last month. Next thing you know, I didn't put him in. Then he had this monster game at the end that I just put him in. I would have won. But after that, I was like, I'm not wasting any more time in this unproductive thing that I'm doing every year. So
right.
Yeah. So we got that out of the way, everybody. We had to get that out. So tell the people who you are personally and then professionally, Steve.
So I don't know how to answer that. Professionally, I'm just, here's who I am. My heroes, I believe the invisible heroes of our economy are entrepreneurs and business owners. They risk everything. They put it all on the line. They risk their family's future. And yet, what is it they accidentally do if they make it through the gauntlet? They bring us services and products that improve our lives. And more importantly, they employ a significant portion of the American workforce. Did you know that over 98% of the businesses in the US have 20 employees or less?
I did not know that. No.
That's crazy. It blew me away. And when I got to thinking about it, think of who that person is. They're just like you and me.
Yeah.
They show up every day knowing they're going to get punched from some side they weren't expecting, but they're having to wear every single hat.
Yeah.
Those are my heroes.
I love it. I love that. That's great stuff, man. So tell us what is your current project you're working on right now?
Right now, I launched my podcast at the first of the year when I got a lot of free times because a lot of our accounts fell off. And the folks that were maybe teeing up to come on board, they put on the brakes. And so it was like, well, what do I do with this extra time besides pout? So I launched my podcast. And so we just dropped the 75th episode the other day.
Nice.
So been hustling on that. I've got a second book in the works, but my book that we're going to talk about a little bit, I dropped, it came out on January the 14th. So doing that, I'm doing some live streaming too with some of my clients. So yeah.
I like that. Okay. So one last thing before we dive in here, tell us what does your daily routine look like?
So I do everything the opposite of what I don't take a cold shower. I don't get up and right. I don't do the get up at 4. I wake up 7 o'clock or so. I check my email. I get into the day, but I show up and then start going through things. I don't have this routine that we're going to post on Facebook and write a blog about. It's just, I'm just a Texas guy that shows up every day and starts grinding.
I like how you said the cold shower, because I always had a little beef about that, because I was just like, these guys talking about the cold showers. Okay, I'm from Boston. All right, there's no way God forgive me, there's no way in hell that I'm going to be taking a cold shower in the middle of January. Most of these guys are from San Diego, California.
Yeah.
You can walk outside and be refreshed after a cold shower. Me, I'm stepping out into freezing cold after a cold shower.
Yeah.
And then outside is the same way. These New England homes, there's no way you're gonna take a cold shower in this climate. So anyway, that's my beef.
I love that. It's like the only time I'm going to be warm all day is in my shower.
Right. Exactly. So there you go. There's my beef there. So let's dive into it. Let's get into it. What is a toilet website, and why I mean everyone who's listening and watching may have one, of course.
So Brian, in the years that I've done this, I would have all these business owners come in and they'd say, Steve, I think we need help with our website. We need to redo our website. We need to, I think we need to show up on social media. And then I think we got to show up on the top of a search somewhere. But what I realized was what they were really saying is, look, Steve, my customers are expecting me to have a good online platform. I see my competitors or other brands really killing it. And I feel compelled, I need to step up and transition from traditional marketing into modern marketing, but I don't know where to start. So being an entrepreneur, what's an entrepreneur? They're just going to do it anyway, right? They're going to figure it out.
Right.
And they were using the words they had to tell me what the subtitle was on that foreign film. They say website, but what they're really saying is, I need to figure out this platform thing because that's where our world is going.
Yeah.
But every day when you're called and someone calls and promises you that they can get you at the top of a search, and they're calling every day, and you're seeing social media posts, you're being brainwashed or you're being framed. Your perspective and expectations are being framed.
Okay.
And one day it just hit me that in a 45-minute conversation, when they say you got to tell someone 7 times before they hear what you're saying?
7
Well,
touches.
well, it's like, I have 7 minutes here and I can't say it 7 times. So how can I reframe their expectations? And so I would go, Brian, look, your website is just a toilet.
Mm.
In that Boston home of yours, you wouldn't buy a home if it didn't have one.
Right.
But when people come over, where do you guys hang out? In the kitchen, around the fireplace, around the patio. Look, it's important, but it's just one piece in an overall system that makes a home. And so the most absurd, universal, iconic, somewhat humorous example of reframing your expectation of your website was to call it a golden toilet. And it's the internal fear that every business owner has, is wasting money on something that won't work. And you think of a golden toilet doesn't make it flush any better. It doesn't improve the user experience. It's just a waste of money. And so that's what we're wanting to avoid as business owners.
So I'm gonna get into this question because I had it further down the list, but let me get into more deeply what you're talking about. So tell us the horror stories of holding on to a toilet website. What do you mean by this concept where we're diving into like money? What are the costs of holding on to that? Tell us about that, so that people who are just maybe diving into a website, or people are telling them, you need a website. What is that all entailing when we're talking about that?
Yeah, number one, what's your expectation, right? If you do it right, people are evaluating and judging you based on the information they find out about you. There's a quote that says people have to buy you first before they buy what you do.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people put a lot of focus on that website, but the messaging could be all wrong. You remember that time you went and checked out a website and it's like this clock's ticking down, like, that clock, that bomb that's going to explode if you don't diffuse it. Okay. Well, that's what's going on with your brain. Your brain's going, Brian, how much longer are we going to waste here? Let's go. And you're like, no, give me a minute. I got to find it. It's around here somewhere. I know they have. And finally your brain says, no, we're out of here. Well, you could have a pretty website, but if it's a user experience that's frustrating, we've walked away from great websites, ruthless, without even caring, and went to the competitors because we couldn't find something and got frustrated. Yeah. That's what's at stake here.
So let's define what is essential then for a website. Because I've heard both sides, like you need one, you definitely need one, or don't start with one. Get your marketing done before you can start a business. So in your experience, what is the essential thing when you're starting that you need for a site, or do you need a site at all? What is your stance on that?
Well, I love that question, because what if Google doesn't exist in 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah.
What if websites are like Yellow Pages? But here's what's never going to go away. You're going to need to clearly communicate exactly what it is you do, and that you relate with your target market, and that they can trust you. That's never going to go away. It's always been a requirement and will always be a requirement, no matter what the platform environment.
Okay. So here's a question for you, because I hate to stick still, because I know where you're going, but I just think that if you have a website, shouldn't it be presentable at most, at least some type of way where it looks decent enough to get started? Like, so what are we really saying? Like, are we saying like just throw something up there, and then do your marketing off of that? Or what are you seeing when people come to you and say, our website needs something, or we just need a better website or what have you. What are you saying as far as what looks good or what is acceptable for you to get started?
It needs to feel good to the brain. Okay. And that means it needs to be uncluttered. It needs to be simple. And in just a split second, I need to go, I'm found what I was looking for. They get me. And then your brain's going to go, you can spend some more time here, Steve. So you got to make the cut. It's just like an American Idol. It's not the attention economy. It's the focus economy. You can get people's attention by just lighting a firecracker, but you lose it. Okay. So it's not the attention economy. You're competing with highly weaponized entities that know how to demand attention. The last time you were on Instagram or Facebook, how long did you stay? A long time. Well, that's who you're competing against. You're competing against kids.
Yeah.
daddy, or you're competing against spouses. Okay. So the one opportunity that you get on stage, like an American Idol, you need to have your gig down. You need to practice. You need to have your message clear, or it's going to be embarrassing. Like on American Idol, you're going to be on that embarrassing reel, right? Where they dismiss them. You need to have everything clear, and it needs to feel right. So your messaging is the number one thing. That's why I say it doesn't matter whether we're having a podcast conversation, whether we're on a website, a leave behind, an email, a social media post. That messaging has to be clear, period.
All right. So in simplest terms, Steve, let's talk about, because I love what you're saying. We're talking about the message. And I think a lot of people get this wrong. Even I might be getting this wrong sometimes. Many times in the past, I thought I had the message, and it was the wrong message, or it wasn't the same. And I think a lot of people get this thing where they feel they have it, or maybe they haven't even grown into their message. So, how does one find the right message to deliver and make the most impact that they're looking for, and getting the results that they're looking for when they're starting out, or when they're maybe further along to try to refine their message?
I love the question. And here's where it really struck me, is that your why you started this whole thing has got to come through in your message. So let's say that I use this example. Let's say you're a photographer that specializes in maternity, taking pictures of moms after they had their baby. Okay. Well, here's the contrast. Here's the guy that's going, I need to find something to make money. So they got an oil change shop. They got to take pictures of mothers with babies opportunity, or they got, a sandwich shop. Which one do you think we can make more money? Well, your messaging, when people go, what do you do? I take pictures of moms with babies. Okay. Yeah. Or here's the one that's one day their why came from this. They had a baby and they were a little bit struggling with the person that they had paid for, didn't show up on time on the appointment, didn't even really like kids, and took the pictures. And that's what I had for the rest of my life of that moment. Okay. So that convinced me there was a need in the market. So now I go, what do you do? What do you do? I love to help moms capture that perfect moment of their little kid. Is different than I take pictures of moms with new babies. So there's your why is coming through in that message, and which one feels better, which one communicates without saying, I understand you and you're safe with me. Well, everybody says that, But in your messaging, you can really communicate it, but you have to have it in your why.
Yeah. I like that. I mean, I think that might be the best why answer, because a lot of people say, I have a love-hate relationship with the why thing. But I do like that. And the reason why I have a love-hate relationship with the why thing is because I think a lot of people have similar whys, and they don't know what to do with that, or they don't have a what. So you have a lot of people who are, why are you doing this for? I'm doing this for my family, doing this for my community, for my church. I'm doing this for, doing this for me, which is probably the first thing.
Yeah.
But then what? But you have a great thing, but there's no what to that. So you're great. I was talking to my son, about earlier this year. He's like, well, Dad, he wants to be an entrepreneur. I was like, Dad, I want to help my brothers out. I don't want them to suffer anymore. So how much you want to make, son? That's not what I said. So what do you want? He's like, I want $10,000. I want to make $10,000 a month, Dad. I was like, okay. I say, okay, so okay, you got your why. So what are you gonna do? Crickets. I mean, it's great to have, there's no, and part of the reason because he doesn't know what he wants to do. But so I feel that I love your why thing, like I said, but a lot of people just don't know what to do with that. How do you answer that?
So your why is really going to shine after you've paid your dues, after you've been chopping at that tree a while. Now think about your son. It's not unrealistic. You make $10,000 a month, but what his why is now, as opposed to a year or two from now, is going to be deeper. It's going to be different. He's going to have lessons that he learned from that's really going to either solidify it and really make it more niche-y, more pithy.
Yeah.
But we got to start somewhere, right?
We got to.
When I started this agency, the vision I had for it was X.
Yeah.
9 years later, we've curved around, gone up and down, and now we're in our zone now. But it's so different than what I imagined. But the overall mission is to help my heroes have something to show for this investment, right?
Yeah.
But it's like that dish your grandmother cooked and you started cooking it, all right? You loved it, but yours isn't it like? But over time, people want you to cook yours.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about in the why.
I love it. See, it sounds great. I love how you're doing this, and I hope everybody's getting a lot out of this, because he's explaining it very well. I just want to make sure that people, because I know a lot of people who are coming on here are learning a lot about, how to build a business and how to grow it and scale it. So this is really for the ones who are trying to figure that out, trying to figure out their messaging, trying to figure out, if I got this website but nothing's happening, I'm not getting any traffic. I really didn't know what I'm doing. I just know I needed a website. So it's like, okay, I think figuring out everything is the journey. And I think what you're saying, Steve, is that the message is the key component to really figuring that out. Is that right?
Yeah. This needs to be, people want to do business with you, okay, because they trust you and they like you. All right. Well, yeah. But you need to come with a unique perspective and value that differentiates you from all the people that do similar things that you do. And that starts to shine through your experience. But the biggest challenge that any dad, any leader, any parent, any spouse faces is taking this thing that's in their head and saying it so that people understand it, and they can they can see the same vision that you have.
Yeah.
And the people we love and follow and the thought leaders, they have that nailed down. If you study it, like they got this belief statement, like I believe entrepreneurs are the invisible heroes. Everyone you follow, they have a belief statement. You got to come up with your belief statement, but it comes from some work.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So I have one last question for you. This has been awesome, Steve. So, and it goes something like this. I ask this of all of my guests, and they're watching you right now. They're listening, and they're trying to figure out, how to go about what their steps of earning a business. That maybe they have similar goals and similar interests as you are. How building an agency and trying to help others with their message. Can you tell them, and I'll put you front and center, can you tell them just maybe one tidbit or some words of advice on how to be an authority in this space?
Yeah. First of all, there is no silver bullet. Every solution is comprised of a comprehensive application. And so you got to read, you got to study, you have to talk to people, but you have to recognize patterns. But if you can connect with what motivated you and what's this conviction that's calling you out to step out and be accountable, that's an important place. But the people that you want to help, they don't just need pictures of their baby. They need someone that they can trust, that gets them and that they feel safe with. That's what you have to figure out to do. And you need to be seeing humans with hopes and dreams. And if you can understand that, that's an extremely competitive advantage.
Amazing. I love all of that. I love all of that. Thank you so much, Steve. This has been great. I think you would be somebody who people will really like to work with, because you give this you have a calmness about you. I thought I had it too, but I think I think you beat me. You just beat me today. So you're very calming effect. You have a voice where I think people, like you said, are very trusting of you. And I appreciate you being on this show. People, follow this guy. Please tell them where they can find you after the show.
Yeah. So, of course, ROIOnline.com. I'm on LinkedIn. It's Steve Brown, ROI Online. You can follow my podcast on the ROIOnlinepodcast.com, where I interview people like Brian, winners like that all the time. And my book, you can find my book on Audible, Kindle, and of course, Amazon. It's The Golden Toilet. Stop flushing your marketing budget into your website and build a system that grows your business.
Great stuff. Great. Just great stuff, man. I have no words. Wonderful, man. And just from my little tidbits, please, people, go to theauthorityletter.com, join that list, build your platform. Happy holidays to everybody.
Yeah.
By the way, it's the last week. We have a couple more shows here, and I hope everybody. It's been a topsy-turvy 2020, to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that's even an understatement by saying that. But I want everybody to still finish strong, right? We can still finish strong in this week, because 2021 is going to be, another battle. I think people think it's going to be like, everything's going to get better and easier, but that's not life, right, Steve? What do you think about that?
Amen. No, if there was anything that we learned from 2020, is we have what it takes to muster through. Yeah. And the truth is this: it's like the last time you got through a death or losing someone or a relationship, and you sat down and go, okay, that didn't kill me. But here's what sucks. The next time it comes around, it's just as hard, but you can do it. You at least have a track record of making it through. You have some confidence, But there's a lot of good things that we learned about ourselves this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be more to learn in 2021 as well about ourselves in 2021. But yeah, I think we all can adjust and get through things.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting this year, but I know we can fight through another year because the battle's not over. So everybody follow this guy and make sure, give him a shout out on LinkedIn. He's the real deal. So take care. I appreciate you. Do you have anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
Tell you what, look me up on LinkedIn. You can give me a message. I'll spend 30 minutes with you. I'm happy to talk through, coach, whatever you guys want to talk about. It's on me. And as a proud guest of Brian on the Authority Project, that's what I'd love to offer. Awesome.
Great stuff. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, we will see you on the next one. This has been great, but see you on the next one of the next episode of the Authority Project. We thank you so much. Build it, share it, and they will come. That's all. We're out of here. Peace.
And that's a wrap for this episode of The Authority Project. Thanks so much for tuning in. And if you like what you heard, we want to hear from you. Subscribe, rate, and give an honest review. Share and tell your friends so they can hear too. And for even more authority building tactics, be sure to sign up at theauthorityletter.com. Get free weekly content and ongoing digital product giveaways to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. We certainly hope you got a key takeaway or maybe an aha moment from today's broadcast. Just remember, it's your authority. Build it, share it, and they will come. Until next time.